This isn't reality TV. This is real life. And it just exploded outside the courtroom. And guess who lit the match? Bambi, outside the courthouse today. The drama wasn't just legal. It was deadly. Lil Scrappy wasn't holding back any longer. Fists flew, secrets were revealed, and Stevie J was caught in the crossfire of a betrayal so deep it could end careers. And guess what? Word on the street is that this explosion wasn't random. Rather, it was the result of a betrayal so brutal and personal that it shattered the already precarious foundation of their messy triangle with Bambi. Now for the real kicker. What was said in that courtroom that made Scrappy want to throw his hands on the ground and more? Let's break it down and quickly rewind the tape. We're outside a Fulton County courtroom with heat rising off the pavement, press everywhere. Security posted and tension so high you could cut it with a butter knife in the middle. More importantly, why is everyone suddenly going silent? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear is deeper than drama. It's betrayal, revenge, and the truth they don't want you to know. Lil Scrappy was pacing with his jaw clenched and his fists balled up. Why? Because a bomb had just gone off inside that courthouse, exposing Bambi's betrayal and the man she allegedly worked with. Stevie J now? Let's not pretend that this is all new. If you've been following this story, you already know that Scrappy and Bambi's relationship has always been rocky, filled with accusations, cheating scandals. Social leaked documents presented during a custody hearing reveal that Bambi had been working covertly with Stevie J behind the scenes, feeding him information about Scrappy's finances, parenting styles, and even alleged personal struggles strengthen her. This was not just betrayal, it was premeditated sabotage. Let that sink in. The betrayal didn't end there. According to court transcripts, Bambi and Stevie J met several times in private for strategy meetings rather than business, leaving everyone in the courtroom stunned. An unnamed source familiar with the case told reporters this wasn't just a woman fighting for custody. This was a takedown mission Bambi wanted. You may be asking, why would Stevie J of all people get involved in this mess? And what does he gain from helping Bambi sabotage Scrappy? However, rumor has it that Stevie J had his own reasons. That tension had been building between him and Scrappy ever since that notorious love and hip-hop incident. It turns out that the shade went deeper than the Atlanta reunion, where Stevie made some shady remarks about Bambi looking better off without Scrappy. Rumor has it that Stevie J saw Bambi as a possible ally in his covert scheme to increase his influence in the show's upcoming reboot, and that's siding with her, particularly during a contentious high-profile court case, gave cameras show Bambi leaving the courthouse with her legal team, acting as though she just won the Super Bowl, while Stevie J follows a few feet behind, grinning, and Scrappy waits. Witnesses claim that the moment Stevie J stepped outside, Scrappy charged without warning or words, just a flurry of emotion that security guards attempted to contain. TMZ released exclusive footage of Chuck's Scrappy photos before the hour was up, and within minutes, fans, bloggers, and even other reality stars began commenting on Erica. However, he managed to get past one enough to land a punch that reportedly grazed Stevie's jaw before they were both pulled apart. His face. That was the moment the internet went completely crazy. Real ones don't fold. K. Michelle reposted a video of the fight with the caption, "It's always the ones smiling in your face." However, the real shocker was Mama D, who knew it was only a matter of time before she came out swinging verbally. Of course, Tixon Scrappy's ex and his daughter's mother deleted the tweet after saying, "Told y'all, people play dirty until they get caught. I've been told you all Bambi was poison, but now you all want to listen. My son isn't crazy. He's a Man, she went too far, posting on Instagram as soon as she learned of the incident. She then produced convincing but unverified screenshots of purported direct messages between Bambi and Stevie J discussing Scrappy's weaknesses and how to use them in court. Were they real? Who knows? A newly leaked audio recording that was Accidentally recorded by a courtroom microphone left on after the session shows Bambi laughing softly and saying, "That was easier than I thought. You took the bait." And the courtroom tapes revealed an even darker story while everyone was still in shock from the attack. The tape ends immediately, but those 6 words were enough to turn the internet upside down. What was the planned courtroom confrontation? Was the entire legal battle a setup to emotionally destroy Scrappy? People began removing receipts. Fans found old Love and Hip Hop videos in which Bambi and Stevie J were seen whispering to each other in the corners and giving Scrappy side-eye. One fan even made a timeline connecting each time, following Scrappy's financial difficulties and numerous public breakdowns. What initially appeared to be a typical messy reality TV drama began to a long-term psychological operation. And now, people were demanding answers. Was Bambi's betrayal purely emotional, or was it also financial? She assisted Stevie J in gaining access to Scrappy's private information. Were there any legal ramifications beyond custody disputes? Stevie J's camp remained silent throughout this time. His team declined interviews, and his Instagram comments were locked. However, in such cases, silence speaks loudly. And that's where things get even messier, because just as the attack video went viral, new rumors surfaced that suggest an anonymous producer from the show's previous seasons claimed that Stevie J plays a long game and is always cunning. If he saw Bambi as a pawn to checkmate Scrappy, he wouldn't hesitate. Isn't the first time Stevie J has attempted to sabotage someone behind the scenes using personal relationships? Now, people weren't just, they were suspicious. What else? Do we not know about other backroom situations? We pick up exactly where we left off. With a sealed legal document leaking online and sending shockwaves through Atlanta's entertainment and legal circles, the file purportedly submitted by Lil Scrappy's legal team wasn't just some petty court paperwork. Deals have been made, and if Bambi was working with Stevie J the entire time, who else is involved? This strategic nuke was directed specifically at Bambi. Let's get started. After the news spread, it seemed like every blog, podcast, and Instagram gossip page hit DEFCON 1, the document, which was classified as confidential for court use, only made some shocking accusations. It stated in bold letters that respondent Bambi had been in constant contact with a third party, Stevie J, to plan a defamatory media campaign, spread false information, and sway potential let's dissect witnesses who intend to influence the verdict. In this case, it goes beyond simple dishonesty. This goes beyond simple treachery. Although these charges are officially unsubstantiated, the file included screenshots of email threads and even purported text messages between Bambi and Stevie J. This is about criminal intent utilizing private relationships to undermine someone's legal standing in court. One of the most unsettling the messages said, "Keep poking him. He'll snap eventually. Once he does, we've got him." That line alone sent fans into a tailspin. They were accusing Bambi and Stevie of emotionally manipulating Lil Scrappy into a public outburst, the same one that resulted in his now viral attack outside the courthouse. This wasn't just personal, it was also strategic, and while the court was still in session, hasn't formally addressed the leaked document. But legal analysts online were quick to comment. Attorney Odd Lex wrote on X, formerly Twitter, "If these messages are real, we're looking at potential charges of collusion, emotional coercion, and even witness tampering. This goes beyond family court. It's criminal." But here's the real kicker. Multiple sources from the courtroom claims that Stevie J has discreetly hired a different legal team. This, a powerful crisis management firm that has allegedly handled celebrity scandals, non-disclosure agreements, and hush money negotiations. What does indicate that he's getting ready for fallout? Let's face it, this isn't Stevie's first time dealing with controversy. The man has spent years navigating his way through it. Stevie has always been the guy with just enough plausible deniability to escape the fire unscathed. But this time, people are not letting it go. Enter Mama D. After learning about the sealed doc leak, she returned to Instagram Live with more candid commentary. Stevie's infamous battles with Joseline, Hernandez, and shady deals behind the scenes on Love and Hip Hop. I know what I did was wrong, but I had to do what was best for me. You were slipping, and I needed to win, Mama D read aloud as she held what she claimed to be handwritten letters from Bambi to Scrappy letters pleading for forgiveness, full of emotional manipulation and half apologies. She then looked directly into the camera and said, "That ain't love, that's war, and my son isn't going down without a fight." By this point, the fan base was divided. Some were supporting Scrappy and bombarding his page with messages that said, "You deserve better. She used you for custody and clout. Bambi played chess, but you're still the king." Others, surprisingly, began to defend Bambi, claiming that Scrappy had been emotionally distant and that Bambi was just being the next bombshell. Which changed everything. Came from an anonymous whistleblower posing as a production assistant on Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta. In it, she claimed that everything that happened in court was strategic rather than malicious, and that reality TV editing had always portrayed her as the villain, and that we, the audience, had fallen for the trap. It's planned months ago. Stevie J presented producers with the idea of a custody war scandal that could increase the reboot's viewership. Bambi agreed in exchange for storyline control and editing rights. Let's pause. If that's the case, then the entire situation, the attack, the betrayal, the leaked texts, even the sealed documents may have been staged as part of a bigger publicity stunt. However, here's the plot twist. Scrappy allegedly didn't know. When fans learned that Bambi and Stevie were allegedly cashing quiet checks and getting ready for a redemption arc on reality TV, the betrayal felt even more profound. It wasn't just emotional, it was also legal. Imagine fighting for your child and your reputation while your ex and she were doing the same. This is according to the same whistleblower, Scrappy, who believed the custody hearings were 100% real. When part 2 of this scandal reached a catastrophic level, reporters started looking into the production company behind Love and Hip Hop. A number of former cast members, including Tommy Lee and Carly Red, suddenly became very vocal. Carly tweeted, "Y'all think Stevie's just messy for TV? Nah, he's messy in real life too. Ask me how that happened." There's no loyalty in that crew. Everybody's playing everybody for a storyline. Scrappy's just the latest casualty, Tommy Lee continued. In the meantime, court insiders disclosed that Scrappy had filed an emergency motion seeking a media gag order, arguing that the spotlight on the case was putting his reputation at risk. Let that marinate, because while Bambi and Stevie were allegedly cashing in, Scrappy was falling apart. And that brings us to the psychological evaluation that was part of the motion. It stated that Scrappy had been experiencing acute emotional distress as a result of the betrayal. Media pressure and continuous harassment from outside parties connected to the respondent. On the third and last level of this mess, the same source who leaked the court docs hinted that another name, someone powerful with connections to the courtroom and the show, was about to enter the scandal. The hint was ambiguous, so let's just say that the puppet master might be a woman. And she's not new to reality TV. Fans started pointing fingers right away. Was it Mona Skochung, the producer of the Love and Hip Hop film? This isn't just a personal feud. This isn't just a legal battle. This is corporate exploitation at its highest level. It's turning a black father's trauma into clickbait and disguising sabotage as entertainment. And it's not over as this section comes to a close. We're hearing rumors that Scrappy's legal battle is ongoing. Empire. Could she have been the one pulling strings, encouraging Bambi and Stevie J to stir the pot for ratings? Demonstrate that what transpired wasn't merely manipulation, but rather conspiracy. The team is getting ready to subpoena production emails, behind-the-scenes video, and payment records. that turns out to be the case, someone will be imprisoned and lose everything. We left off with subpoenas being prepared, production receipts being examined, and rumors. Let's get started. A few days after Scrappy's legal team filed the motion to subpoena production materials from Love, the reality TV mogul, you know exactly who we're talking about, may be the hidden mastermind behind the chaos. Now, buckle up, because Part 3 takes us deeper into the fallout, by which I mean careers collapsing, reputations drowning, and secret footage coming back to bite. Stevie J's name was listed next to a note that read, "Bonus delivers altercation with Scrappy target airdate summer." In one of the zip files that Insider ATL Truth, an anonymous Reddit user, released, the file allegedly contained unedited production call sheets, footage logs, and payment slips for unaired segments. Hip Hop Atlanta, excuse me? But you're telling me that a physical altercation between Scrappy and Stevie J that just so happened to occur outside a courtroom during a child custody hearing was actually included in the production schedule as a literal budget bonus? That's orchestration, not reality TV. But wait, it gets messier because something unexpected was hidden in that same folder. A wire transfer receipt dated 2 weeks prior to the attack that was sent to Bambi's LLC directly from a shell company purportedly associated with the Love and Hip Hop franchise. The amount was $9,500 and the description read, "Promotional compensation." The math is working out. People and bloggers were blown away when this news broke. YouTubers were creating reaction videos with titles like "Bambi sold out," "Scrappy for a check," "Stevie J set up a father for reality TV ratings," and "Mama D was right all along." Back on Live, Mama D was wearing full regalia, sipping from a wine glass, and surrounded by screenshots from the leaked folder. She read them aloud one by one as if hosting her own virtual court show. The world now knows, but let's talk about what's actually going on behind the scenes. Scrappy, who is now armed with indisputable receipts, reportedly met with his legal counsel for 6 hours straight the night after the incident. She looked directly into the lens and said, "If doesn't prove it, then the devil's got you all fooled. My baby boy got used, played, and betrayed." In a Reddit leak, several insiders stated that they were drafting a civil lawsuit for defamation, emotional distress, and fraud, not only against Bambi, but also against Stevie J and possibly the entire production company behind the show. And you all, he might actually have a case. According to a celebrity legal analyst who previously worked on the Wendy Williams divorce case, if Scrappy can demonstrate that emotional under the pretense of entertainment, Stevie J went silent, leaving behind only a deleted TikTok and a deactivated comment section. When the heat gets on, the messy ones always scatter first. But Bambi wasn't leaving. Manipulation and staged scenarios had a direct impact on his mental health and public image, and he could sue for millions in damages. Textbook character assassination. Miss Bambi vehemently denies any involvement in a setup or manipulation of Mr. Scrappy. She also stated that all content filmed was subject to a contractual agreement and reviewed by network lawyers prior to production. A few days later, she released a statement through her representative, stating that any financial compensation received was for promotional use related to the show's airing. Translation: I did what the contract advised me to place the blame on the network. But even that might not help her because VH1 executives were allegedly holding emergency meetings behind the scenes to deal with the scandal's mounting backlash. According to a leaked memo, advertisers were worried about partnering with a show that was allegedly using actual legal trauma for entertainment. In other words, the money might start to flow. And that's when a shocking interview on the YouTube series TV Untamed. Her voice was distorted and her face was blurred, and she spilled everything. We were given dossiers on the personal trauma of the cast members, including Scrappy's custody case, which was identified as having a high potential for drama. We were literally told to cause chaos. She said that scripts were passed off as seen. outlines, and that talent was coerced off camera with staged text messages, deceptive phone calls, and emotional ambushes in order to take advantage of it, prolong it, and force viewers to choose sides. The internet went crazy, and hashtag #HireFreeScrappy began trending. Our cancel love and hip-hop exploded overnight, and CBS started speaking out, even bringing up Candy Burris from Real. Reality TV gone too far. Real families are suffering while executives collect checks, praying for scrappy housewives of Atlanta posted. However, as the media landscape deteriorated, Lil Scrappy broke his silence by sharing an unfiltered, raw video of himself cracking his voice in his kitchen hoodie without any glam setup or background music. "I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. But I never imagined I'd be stabbed in the face." He concluded the video by displaying a picture of his daughter and stating, "This is the only person I care about winning for. All the rest of y'all have already lost." And with that, the sympathy came flooding in. But keep in mind that video outside the courthouse where Scrappy lunged at in order to undermine Scrappy's custody claims. Stevie J had to be restrained and dragged back by security. At the time, most people believed it was just a heated moment, but now that the video may be used as evidence, Scrappy's attorneys have asked to view all unreleased love and hip-hop video files, alleging that Stevie J purposefully incited the attack. If they can demonstrate that the scene was set up, the roles will be reversed. The fallout could be historic if goes to court. Bambi, Stevie J, and possibly VH1 executives could face a variety of civil and even criminal charges, depending on what surfaces. But more than that, Scrappy would be seen as a victim of psychological warfare driven to the brink by a co-parenting setup that turned into a toxic production trap. Symbolized the end of love and hip-hop as we know it, because when the cast is reduced to collateral damage, when fatherhood is compromised for the sake of viewership, and when betrayal is reduced to a script, it ceases to be television and turns into something much more dangerous. The real scandal is that fans are starting to wake up. People are starting to question every plotline. And those who built their empires on lies may now find this isn't just about Scrappy. It's about every celebrity who has ever been consumed and spit out by a machine that thrives on chaos. If this lawsuit proceeds, it will be the first in a series of events that could reveal decades of covert exploitation. Stay tuned, because the fight isn't over. Now, I need you all to sit with this for a moment. Second, let it sink in that Lil Scrappy wasn't just a cast member. He was a father, a man embroiled in a custody battle, and a real human being striving to keep his family together while the cameras rolled. If even half of what we just discovered is accurate, then what we're watching isn't just a messy TV moment. Rather, it's a full-on takedown of a system built on betrayal, manipulation, and staged trauma for ratings. Pockets got fatter behind the scenes to top it off with a spike in ratings and a cliffhanger in the season finale. Now, I want to know if you think Scrappy was set up, if Stevie J truly orchestrated the meltdown, and if Bambi was just a pawn or if she was playing chess the entire time. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below.
All right.
Do you follow Team Scrappy, or if you believe Scrappy deserves justice? Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're sick of the lies, and turn on notifications, because believe me, this story isn't finished yet. This is bigger than a reality show, and it's about preventing real lives from being destroyed for phony plot points. We don't do fluff here. We do facts, even if they are fake and seem more real than reality. So we're going to reveal more secrets and reveal more truths that the industry doesn't want you to hear. Till the next time. Time to remain alert, loud, and prepared. Television broadcasts the revolution.